Lots of earnings, lots of stocks to discuss.
Well, that's right. Let's focus on a couple of big earnings that came in overnight. And in fact, let's talk about the result actually that came in towards the end of close. That's Trent. Prakash Diwan joins us. Prakash, what do you think of those numbers? The fallen angel from 8,500 all the way to around 4,500. But yesterday, the street really liked the margin performance. You know, the gross margins were under some pressure, but the absolute reported EBITDA margins was something that pleasantly surprised the street. What's your take on the stock?
Good morning, Nigel. So definitely there's some silver lining to otherwise what would have been a disappointment. There is this very clear indication that value retail has been doing well. You saw how Vishal Mega Mart also kind of reported numbers, some of the other numbers that have come through. So there was very less likelihood that Trent would also manage to do it. But I think the Zudio magic continues to work. And you know what they've also done, if you notice on the ground, they've rationalized a lot of their stores. What is working well for them, they've expanded, doubled sizes in certain places. What's not working, they've actually moved out. And it's a very serious long-term plan that's kind of now getting to be unveiled. So we've seen geo numbers, the retail numbers from Reliance. So there is a very clear unaddressed segment that's kind of getting into that organized space. Trent's taken advantage of that. Is it expensive after this fall? Yes. The numbers are great, but it's always been priced at a PEG basis where you try to kind of make it look reasonable. But I think it still looks a bit unreasonable to me. It is expensive. You'll have to wait for dips to add to it if you're a serious Trent fan. But the numbers at least give you that respite that something could happen very soon on that.
Okay, got that. Prakash, hi, morning. State Bank of India. SBI is looking to raise fresh equity capital. Doesn't happen too often. That, and of course, we'll be hearing numbers. In general, banking is the flavor of the season. Your thoughts on the stock?
No, I think, good morning, Sumish. I think they're gearing up, building the war chest for the next phase of growth. Remember, SBI has been fairly consistent with credit growth even when the others struggled, for the simple reason that they sit on a very advantageous position as far as CASA is concerned. But the book that they run and the book that they could possibly run, given all the improvements that they have done in technology and the back end, is very clearly, and you'll be surprised if you look at the gold loan portfolio, that has grown so significantly. And we'll wait for the final numbers for the quarter to come through to see these metrics. But I think it's a very positive move. It will get a lot of opportunity for people to participate, particularly institutions who would be wanting to allocate much more money. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this fundraise gets completely overwhelmed by FI participation as well. I mean, of course, subject to limits and all of that, but there'll definitely be a very, very decent appetite for this paper.
Okay, all right. Prakash, very quickly, if you could tell us about Bajaj Finance. The numbers came overnight. They're also going to make the stock more affordable for the retail audience, post that corporate action. But the problem is that the stock has seen a big run in the last few months. So it's not as cheap as what it was. What's your approach to the name at around 9,000 rupees?
No, I do agree. I mean, even if it kind of comes down to 900 and starts looking affordable, there could be accumulation in different pockets. But remember, this is a space where beyond this, to grow is always going to be a challenge, and especially growing with a quality book to boot. We've seen the likes of Poonawalla Corp, all of these which have been very aggressive in terms of growth. So growth, which was one of the advantages that Bajaj Finance got, is no more kind of getting its premium. Quality is probably the other thing which it still has. But my concern is if you're on a treadmill and if you keep increasing the pace, at some point it's extremely difficult to get off without an accident. So that's where it is. But yeah, let's see if once the retail participation comes in, there could be distribution which could give some solidity to the stock in terms of these moves ups and downs. But right now, I think the up move needs to get digested after these numbers, and you will see this kind of petering out for some time.
All right, Prakash, got that. We'll say thank you for now, but we have more questions. Whirlpool, for example, is something I want to ask you. Stock was up big time yesterday. There is, of course, that potential stake sale which is going to happen. But last night, out of the US, there is news on Whirlpool that Moody's has cut their credit rating to junk for Whirlpool, the global entity. So, any implications here, etc. We'll come back to this in a bit. We'll take a